Yeah.
Go on, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right here. You get Wikipedia. Which countries have
The
a national
issue is-
space program? Japan, China,
You
India,
guys are
Israel,
both-
Iran, North Korea.
Both sides. Both
Now,
sides of this
now,
conversation are
now,
taking away from the other
wait
side.
1 second.
And the
On the
realization is that space agencies are very heavily involved with military.
Yeah.
Both for every country. It
So-
matters because ICMs, whether you name it, but don't display that that space agencies are involved with military because they very much so are.
Yeah. Maybe to a certain degree to share technology, like new, discoveries in aeronautics or, technology that might help us
No,
get into
that's not
space better
true
and
at all.
survive better. But since when? Well, okay, let's look at the Star Wars thing. If you actually look at the Star Wars program, it was bullshit to start with. It was never going to work.
For instance, the Columbia shuttles, all the shuttle missions that we had were all designed per military spec. All of them. Majority of the funding comes from the military to build those things.
Well, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and the list of government space agencies. If you want me to start at the top, there's a lot of them. Maybe I'll just post the link and you can flick through it yourself because there's a lot. There's the Australian Space Agency, ASA, at the top. Belarus, Central
maybe
American
I'm looking at the same thing you are.
But then you can also click on there's a link for the private spaceflight companies. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, so you got to read the very top. I'm looking at the same thing you are. It says there are 6 government space agencies. So I think they're leaving out another country that I included. They list the 6 space agencies as China, Europe, India, Japan, and United States and Russia. So they leave off North Korea. So
let's look at the private ones then.
You don't need private ones because private ones are generally all government funded anyway.
So you're just going to dismiss the private companies that exist to get into space, are you?
Yeah, these are basically defense contractors. It's like hilarious when you get people like Halliburton or like Brown and Root.
No, the point I'm trying to make here is why would there be private people, like private companies, individuals that have started their own space companies, like Elon? Hang on, I'm not finished.
Yeah, I got you. I can answer you. I know what you're going with. You want to know why they would lie, right?
I'm going to ask before I even ask it. You are now a Jedi Knight, are you, and can read people's minds?
Yeah, because you guys are weak on this topic.
Reason
because
why
you know this.
Private space agencies would be takes away from funding that the governments have to make up.
All right.
That's why private space
private space companies get their money from things like Jeff Bezos owns his own spaceflight company because he owns fucking Amazon. He's got the money to put into it. Why would he need any sort of military contract in order to build the rockets that he does?
Why? Have military
Why would he need that money?
Associated
the man's
a
fucking trillionaire.
Cypher, just a quick thing. These guys don't understand that the Australian Space Agency, right? It's government fucking funded, right? For private use. So do you understand how that works? The government's fronting the bill and private enterprise is going to make it profitable for them.
And that's another thing. NASA may be considered a federal agency by the USA, but they're actually a private company, aren't they, Scott? I think. I might be wrong.
No, they're federal. No, they're not. They're public.
Yeah,
they're public.
That's good to pooch big time on that.
They're an independent government agency.
Independent government agency.
Hire civilian contractors on a regular basis. Just because they are not government and they're funded in the public does not mean the military doesn't have some type of structure on what they can and can't do.
But that just shits all over the points you're just trying to make, that they're closely tied to the military.
Doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, here, I'll type for you really quick with a nice easy bow. Okay, there's about 300.
Anyone who thinks that anyone who thinks the space agencies in the militaries aren't connected, look up the relationship between NASA and DoD.
Yeah, no one's saying they're not connected. Like I said, they may share technologies between the two. You know, when one makes a breakthrough, they might say, "Hey, well, maybe you guys can use this because we're trying to help each other." Or
Okay.
It's not. The argument that was being made was that all of this funding is going towards weapon manufacture and development, and that's not at all true.
Again, 5 minutes ago, I explained about how the shuttles that were built and for them. Look up NASA's relationship with the DoD, and it explains 100% how the military.
Yeah, I've heard this before.
Say again.
There is a relationship. Okay. It's just so what? There's a relationship between the military and all kinds of things, and and that's one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sean.
If the military built the shuttles, or I'm sorry, NASA built those shuttles with the spec of what the military wants, and use at any time that the military wants it, that's a heavy connection. That's not just when they need something they ask NASA.
Well, there's a tight. I mean, some of the missions that they did were military sponsored. So my dad was on one for by the way, a classified mission. So for sure there is a overlap there, because you can't go to space as a country and not pay attention to the fact that this is a huge military strategic advantage and that it's going to come into play. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so there is a relationship. It exists, 100%. But it isn't a relationship of control. It isn't a relationship that's holistic. It is a partnership that arises from time to time, and I don't know why that's a big deal.
No.
Yeah, and again, you're brushing over the point that I said. But no one's denying that there's a link between.
Okay, thank you, Scott. When, like, for instance, the missions like your dad went on and everything, you understand that if the military or NASA hadn't built the shuttles to spec of what military wanted, that the shuttle missions wouldn't have existed?
Say again.
Again, read what I just told you to read, the relationship between them, and it clearly states in those documents, government documents, that on numerous occasions the military threatened not to fund them, which would have shut down the shuttle building of the shuttles.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It surprises me. I wouldn't believe that was true, but I'll check it out.
Yeah. No. Seriously, it's a good read. It's all government document. It's not hearsay. It's not some journalist.
That doesn't make sense, because like NASA isn't funded by the military. They're funded by what, Congress?
Again?
No, it was actually Sean. I'll
branch.
pick you up on this one, mate, because we've spoken about this before. It's that if the military needed to get something into space for a strategic platform, that it had to be able to fit in the fucking shuttle, and that was part of the DoD's business with NASA.
Yeah, and on numerous occasions did the DoD say if at any time we can use this shuttle, and that if it wasn't going to be to spec, and if it wasn't going to be, and if they weren't have full use of the shuttle at any time, that they would not fund it. Therefore, they wouldn't have had the money.
I don't think that's true, Sean. I don't think
it was development funding money that was being separated from the military and being rediverted to NASA, but the military had to. What was it? They had to get something out of it to give the money.
And one thing I think everyone's missing. Hang on.
Everything had to be to spec, and their schedule. Anything if they needed it, used it at any time for military use, it would be that way. And in accordance to that, they built extra launch sites, and they also said that if they hadn't done these things, that there are documents that show them sending in requests for stuff, and if they didn't do it, they would stop funding, and the shuttle missions would not have been possible.
The DoD did not fund the shuttle, though. The shuttle was funded by an independent act of Congress.
Hey, Scott, read the document.
I'm reading it right now. In 1972, the president authorized a 6-year, $5.5 billion development program to have an operational space shuttle by the end of the decade.
Are you reading the relationship between NASA and
the DoD's involvement in the space shuttle program?
Keep reading through it.
I'm still confused. Okay. There's a bit in any business relationship. If I go in with Ford and I say I want a new car built for my giant bus company or a new bus company, you're going to build it for my fucking specs, or I'm not going to let you build it. I don't. What is the significance of this?
It's a little different when it's a private company and against what a military wants. Well, that goes the same for similar though. That goes the same for SpaceX and all those. It's not that the military just goes, "Hey, we're going to throw $100 billion at you, and if we need it, can you help us out?" That's not how it went. It's literally, we're going to do this. Everything needs to be built to these specs, and we need to have any scheduling date we want, or we're not going to fund it, and you're not going to be able to build it.
Yeah, they had to change the size of the cargo to fit a DoD spec and not the specs that they wanted. So yeah, go look that one up.
It's not It literally is not just as simple as it needs to be able to fix or fit our stuff. That's it. It's not that simple.
What is the significance of this argument? I'm trying to understand why you.
I was about to say that's gotten away from the point because this all started off with Crit saying that.
Yeah, I can tie it up real quick.
Towards weapons and everything else, whereas
Cypher, why are you cranky? We stopped him talking.
That's true.
If you guys want to stop me talking, just say that you're that triggered and I hurt you and I don't want to hurt another life form.
Oh
right?
my god!
Just be honest with me.
No. Quick, wrap it up, quick. What was there? Wrap it up. Not wrap it up. I mean, mate, what was the military NASA? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is what I want you guys to do. If you would go to us.gov branches of government, and you just page down where it says the executive branch, and they describe to you what is inside the executive branch of government. And from there, you click down independent agencies. It lists all the independent agencies, and then go to NASA and click on the NASA one. And look what NASA's parent agency is. And this should shock you that NASA, even though it is an independent agency of the executive branch, it directly reports to the office of the president under the White House.
Yeah, that's right.
There is no other independent. The other independent agencies are actually independent. They operate.
Actually, it reports directly into the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics.
Directly to the White House. You guys can click on it. You see now.
Why is that surprising to you? I mean,
because it's almost like who else? Who else directly reports to the president?
Well, all the cabinet members.
No, yeah, and defense.
But all the cabinet members too. Interior, agriculture, energy.
NASA's part of agriculture.
Yep. So there you go. This is letting you know that even though like the post office, CIA, all the other commissions, FBI, all these things operate completely autonomous from the executive, say Trump, except for NASA.
The CIA director reports to Trump, so the FBI. Remember, he fired Comey. They all report to Trump.
Yeah, but they have to fire they could report, but they can do their own thing for the most part, regardless.
NASA for the most part, but they still report to him.
No, NASA. If you look,
they were thinking about making Space Agency a cabinet member at one point, and so it reports directly to the president the way the cabinet members do. It's like think of it like another Department of Interior, only it's called the Department of Space. They never quite made it a cabinet member, so it is sort of a little bit in between, but it's not any different than saying, agriculture, interior, or something.
It's like the Department of Sanitation. Right, for the country.
Yeah.
Hang on. For the country, has to have a sitting member. They won't do that with the space agency because it fucks with the autonomy of the place. You understand that?
Yeah. NASA's run by an administrator, not like a head honcho or anything like that, and he gets changed for years.
Yeah, which is even interesting too, because when you look at that, the head honcho, the administrator of NASA, high-grade military officer.
No, he's not.
He was.
No, he's not.
No, yeah, check
it's
the
a civilian.
He was a high-grade military officer.
No, it's not.
They've been both.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So, I didn't think the current one was. I know previous ones.
Let me double check it. I might be wrong on that.
I think the current one is Bowden. I think he was in the Air Force. I think he was in the Air Force.
Yeah, a colonel, right?
Something like that. Maybe
yeah, okay. I don't want to make sure I didn't lose my mind here.
But Dan Golden was one before him, and Dan Golden was civilian his whole life.
Yeah, he was in the Navy. He flew E-2C Hawkeye off to Abraham Lincoln. He logged in 19,000 flight hours and did 300 supposedly combat missions over Iraq and Afghanistan.
Why is it so surprising to you that they would get people that, are experienced airmen into somewhere that knew how to fly into a place where they're trying to get, to outer fucking space?
No, that's not the part that's surprising.
Why is that so shocking?
The part to me that's surprising is you can't see the connection between the office of the president, DOD, and NASA. That's what's surprising to me.
Again, not when the administrator has changed every few years, and it's not always some previously high-ranking military person. Like I said, and like Scott said earlier, when they join NASA, they become civilians. So just because he's got previous links to the military doesn't mean that NASA's being overrun and controlled puppet master-like by fucking, hidden, military controlled. I don't even know what the fuck point you're trying to make with all of this.
Yeah, that you don't see this, that you don't see somehow actions taken by the executive branch of the federal government are in fact actions taken by the executive branch.
Part of the problem is you've jumped from one thing to the other. This all started off with the funding of NASA and where it came from, and
you ready? One thing
all being funded into weapons development and everything else.
I'm talking about one thing right now.
Away from that point, I think we should get back to that point. As I said, because you said earlier you said that all the money that's being poured in is going towards weapons development, and we pointed out all the private space agencies and the people privately pouring money into getting into space. Do you have to fucking interrupt me every 3 seconds?
No, because I'm letting you know that you're strawmanning the shit out of my position. I already answered all these.
This whole thing started off with you saying the funding that NASA gets poured into and all the space agencies around the world is really going towards weapon development, didn't you?
Correct. Yeah. There you go. Now you got it.
Back to that.
Yeah, that these programs directly tie in to executive branch spending, the same branch that talks about defense as their only strategy for dealing with other people that are about the world, even some that are allies. So you've got, say, Russia and America are getting pretty cozy, right, in space. They're like best friends. They share a toilet. They drink each other's pee and poop. But yet somehow on Earth here, the bear is trying to get the eagle to start a civil war using fake news and sock accounts, a government-funded fake news organization called RT.
I'm going to stop you there and point out once again, how it's
very nice,
SpaceX
Cypher. So he lets you finish, but you won't let him finish.
Well, no, go ahead.
Because he was, again, getting away from the whole thing.
I think it's real important that if you...
SpaceX that's trying to get to Mars and Elon Musk and not NASA, correct? Yeah, Elon Musk is the guy that originally said, I'm going to try and really seriously get us to Mars now. Private-owned company.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to some globalists who said they're on the short list for being engineers on his fleet of colony ships, and that he's looking for people to round out his team for this fleet of colony ships that's supposedly being built in secret because they're afraid they might be attacked by flat Earth terrorists. That's the type of delusional shit I hear. And
you do realize that just about anyone can apply for a job at SpaceX, yes? You don't even have to have any sort of schooling. You can apply for a job at SpaceX and do whatever talents you've got.
Yeah, I read his Twitter.
Find a place for you to fit in.
Yeah, I read his Twitter account.
Why doesn't any flat earther try to infiltrate by getting a job at SpaceX and seeing what's really going on then? If they're wasting all of this money, and like I said, private companies are pouring billions, trillions of dollars into space exploration and getting, suborbital flights so we can travel from LA to fucking Sydney in 45 minutes. Wouldn't that be fucking awesome?
Cypher, I've just looked up the last 5 administrators of NASA. Only the current one has had any form of military career. The other 4 were all scientists.
There you go. Thanks, Ross.
What about the one who was around for the Iraq War? What about that guy? Was he military or?
No, that would be probably Daniel Golden, who served from 1992 to 2001. So that'll take in Gulf War.
No, 2003 you're looking at.
Yeah, well, there was Gulf War Part 1, which was 98, mate.
Yeah. But that wasn't... They didn't fake space photos to perpetuate Iraq War 1. They kind of got Saddam to inadvertently attack...
Oh, you should ask Chemo about Saddam and Flat Earth. He knows all about it, don't you, Chemo?
Yeah, I remember we were. I told you we were talking about making up wild stories. You guys were talking about the globe, spinning ball, flying through space, and then I gave you my story.
So why does the guy ask you if you're related to Alex Jones at the end of that clip?
That was part of the story, dude.
No, it's someone else asking you if you're related to Alex Jones.
Here it is. I found it.
It's story.
So yeah, Joe D. Dowdy was the guy for NASA at the time. He was a colonel in the Marine Corps before he became the director of NASA. So it's almost like they plug and play people at this head of this, executive branch agency to be a figurehead for what type of bullshit they're pushing at the time.
Or maybe they don't.
Or maybe they do.
Or maybe they don't.
Yeah, but you can look at the history of government and see the type of bullshit they've pushed in the past, And you can just, right from there, assume anything the federal government is telling you, even more so at the executive level, has multiple layers of bullshit behind it.
When two people assume, you only make an ass out of you and me, but I'm not assuming. So that's
which is why I offered, I guess probably an hour and a half ago, leave me out of it. If you really want to do this space stuff and you think you're enlightened and you can usher in a new age for humanity, you can re-kick.
No, I'm not. I'm not making any of those claims. What I make the claim
I didn't say you were. I'm saying if you think
I head in the direction, which is why I'm stopping you, because I don't think that, so you're wasting your time.
Okay.
I tend to head in the direction of where the evidence points.
Yeah, and so my evidence
is I don't want to make assumptions. I don't want to make I want something that says that this is something reasonable to conclude.
I'd also like to ask, so once we are traveling from places like LA to Sydney in about 45 minutes and vice versa, and you can get nearly anywhere in the world in, say, probably an hour and a half, I guess, with the suborbital flights. What are you guys going to say then?
I'll see it when I believe it.
You'll believe it when you see it, you mean?
Yeah, because this is another thing, too, that they've been talking about this shit since I was a teenager. Okay? At what point is this shit going to happen? Because it's been a very long time. Okay? Enough already. Okay?
Yeah, keep kicking. When you look at it, space exploration has only been happening. Okay, if we look at the first V2 rocket that took a picture of the curve of the Earth in 48, that's only what are we in 2021? I'm not good at math. 48, that's about 70-something years. It's not very long. But like when you look at the whole history of the planet, 4-point-something billion years old.
So space...
70 years.
So space can't continue because the Earth is really old. But somehow you think it's really weird
No, we've only just started... As the human race... as a species, is literally only in the very we're not even at the baby step yet. We were just born into going into space. We haven't learned how to do it properly and how efficiently. We haven't learned how to do it efficiently yet.
Well, apparently they claim they did.
As they hope to with these suborbital flights, and that's why Elon Musk is has got the rockets that land backwards. Because when we get to Mars, because it has less of an atmosphere, they're not going to be able to use the atmosphere that isn't there to help them brake like they can here on Earth. So they have to have the things turn around and actually, propel fuel out at a high rate to stop the people dying when they land. It basically crashes and blows up if they were to land.
Yeah, there's a backwards landing rocket in the 1980s called like the MX-5 or something like that.
Yeah, and they've only just managed to perfect them. And even then, they still sometimes fall over and blow up.
Or the camera cuts right as it's landing, and you never see it actually land.
Or someone removes 13 frames out of a clip, or things like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing Chemo might be able to talk to you about.
He's very good at editing frames out of a video clip, is our Chemo.
Isn't he though? And playing it in reverse and everything. Yeah.
This is what you guys have to do to maintain this delusion that somehow Chemo can edit frames, but the federal government can't.
Well, no, actually, the first one I was talking about was Flatzoid. Flatzoid's the guy that edited frames out of Red Rhetoric's video. Chemo just did the Blue Origin in reverse and claimed that it was a launch when it was really a landing played in reverse.
Well, actually, the interesting thing about that statement is, what the big difference is that we can identify why we think they edited frames out. You can't identify why you think...
Walter Bislin did that, actually, Cypher.
So why can't you guys identify...
That reversal is from Walter Bislin.
Bislin made that video that you put up on your channel and claimed as your own.
No,
is that what you're
that was Walter Bislin lens correction. Go and look at his website.
Yes, it was. But you actually spent an hour arguing that it was a takeoff and not a landing until we demonstrated that it was. Yes, you fucking did.
No, I never.
There was a huge argument in here.
No, I didn't say if it was forward or backwards. I just said there's the horizon.
Get the video up and have a look at it.
The original,
where it says
the original. What Walter Bislin did.
Get the video that you put up. Let's get the video that you put up, Chemo. The one that says rocket takeoff, not landing.
Go on then.
That's what you told me.
Go on then.
I'll get your video.
Go on then. Let's have a look. So that was from Walter Bislin. He did the lens correction and reversed it. and played it forward. It was.
Oh, Chemo, 666 subs. What's going on there?
I mean,
you under no pressure. 666 subscribers. That's the mark of the beast, Chemo.
It is, yeah.
We knew it. He shall come spreading lies and deceit. He shall cause chaos and contention.
So what's the best evidence for the globe then, Cypher?
Because he is the Antichrist.
Other than the CGI photographs, what else do you have to prove that the...
I don't know. Should we be talking to someone that has the number of the beast? I think that's a bit problematic.
Your name's not...
Let's see if we can fix that real quick.
What? What you say?
You've changed this.
Yeah, just change it. Boom, done. That takes now your argument is sunk again. The battleship is sunk. Like I sunk your battleship.
No.
Nice job, Crit. That was actually a well-constructed argument and a good point.
Now let's get past the nonsense and actually talk about the topic. Okay, sound good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
So back to my question, I was just curious, how come, like, with these videos, you say that NASA can edit these things, or why can't NASA edit these things if one of the flat earthers can edit them? The thing is that we can identify why we think it's edited. You guys can't.
Don't you think we spent enough time critiquing the globe, and shouldn't we now look at Crit's positive flat Earth evidence?
Problem with that, Moyak, is that when we edit any video, Moyak, there is always the original that's uncut, and people just edit for their own, for their own video channel. Whereas
up from your channel,
what we want to see from NASA is a fully uncut video. So if we want to edit it, then we can if we choose to, but we already get the edited version from NASA, so that's the problem.
This video that is on your channel is played in reverse. From when it lands, you start off on the landing pad, and that's the landing, and it plays in reverse because you can see the smoke and the plumage from the rocket getting sucked into the fucking thing as it's landing. You've obviously played this in reverse. Why do you keep insisting that you haven't fucked with this video and presented it in a disingenuous way?
Are you deaf or something?
No, I'm listening now.
I said Walter Bislin reversed it. He did a lens correction on his website. Go and have a look. And that's where it's from. For the 100th time. I had to speak Australian, Cypher, but I hope you.
Yeah, you probably. Should. Well, I know you don't. I know you love me, Chemo. Really. How you doing anyway, bud? Have a good Christmas.
Yeah, fantastic.
You got coal.
Not about me though. What it's about though is the lie that we've been told.
On a personal level, no, I was just asking on a personal level. I want to know if you had a nice Christmas.
Yeah. Again, if you want to be friends with the flat earthers, you've got to be honest, truthful.
Well,
you've got to be able to.
Chemo, I keep asking you. Look, I would turn into a flat earther if you were to show me, Saddam's paperwork and stuff that he had. That would be the nail in my flat Earth coffin.
No, what will make you a flat earther is if you go and try and prove the globe yourself, instead of relying on the system to tell you what is and what isn't. If you could show how much the Earth is curving, practically. With a demonstration.
I can go to the headland here and turn my head from left to right and see.
That's not a measurement. That's just you looking.
Well, I should be able to see New Zealand on a flat Earth. Nothing but ocean between me and you.
That's not how it works. No, there is no should be. You don't even know how a flat Earth works. What do you mean I should? Have you been on a flat Earth before? No. How do you know what works?
According to you, I always have been.
Humo, do you not think that you can make certain predictions about what you should be able to observe or should not be able to observe in if like a
you want to be able to quantify your distances? Well, it's kind of yes and no. If you're in the same location, well, again, even then it's going to be difficult. But if you're going to only have to use your location, so if you're at the beach and you understood how the weather works in your location, yeah, you'll be able to make predictions. But you won't be able to predict those same predictions in on the other side of the country. Let's say if we did it on one side of England, and then we expected the same results on the other side. Well, no, we can't expect that to happen. That's not how it works. But like I say, if you're looking at the West Coast, and you know, it's pretty consistent, but again, even then it's going to be difficult because you might get some bizarre phenomenon that you haven't accounted for.
So you don't know the Earth is flat then?
Yes, we know this through science, because in order to have the water conform around the exterior, we need a force. So without that force...
Science says gravity is an apparent force that we can use. So cool, next.
Yeah, without that force, we're not able to manipulate...
Which science says exists.
Yeah, but without that manipulation, and that demonstrable manipulation, then we can't control the effect. And if that can't happen, then obviously...
But you said science says it's flat, but science doesn't say that the globe is flat. Everybody I look at says it's a globe, and science seems to say that gravity is a thing, and it's got a whole load of experiments that sort of demonstrate that in a number of different ways. So we should be good.
No, like I say, science will look at the observed phenomenon. Now... you say, I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to go your hype. I haven't even seen this, but this is how we're going to work with you, or at least I will. I haven't seen water conform to the exterior of an object. You say it does. You haven't shown that, but you say it does.
You said how can it?
You,
and you said
just
science says this.
in general,
and I said, well, what science seems to say is the reason that the water sticks to the ball is because of gravity, and gravity says that science says that gravity is an apparent force that exists.
Yeah, like I said.
So, Julio, we're good.
Like I said,
because science says that, and science is your authority, and I've just invoked your authority and what it says, so we should be good now.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. What's wrong with that, Chemo?
I'm glad you asked. Very good question. What's wrong with that is that we don't have an observed phenomenon, but I'm going to work with you and just go with the hypothesis that
stuff falls.
Water can conform around the exterior of an object. So in order
the observed phenomena is stuff falls towards the Earth.
In order to have that belief verified, we're going to have mass attracted mass. Yes? So we're going to have to...
No. I have a natural phenomena, which is stuff falls towards the Earth, and when I apply that acceleration to everything, everything seems pretty good. And, I apply that acceleration to the water, and it'll happily conform to an object, because that force is operating towards a central point.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but
that's what we observe, and that's what science says. It's not what I say, because I don't know shit, but it's what science...
I hear what's being said, but again, the only way to verify that would be to test it. If your hypothesis...
Oh, no, we don't need to, because science says that's true.
And also, it's an observation.
Actually, I've got the perfect channel for this. Give me one moment.
Huh? Don't you love what science says, Chemo? Science is so cool.
So what we have is a phenomenon that water can do something around the exterior. We have to test that. So unless we get the results where we're able to manipulate the cause to this effect, the hypothesis is wrong, basically. So what we need to see is a manipulation of that force, yes, in order for it to agree with hypothesis.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yes?
Sorry. I recommend everyone goes and checks this channel out. How ridiculous. They're a bunch of 3 Aussie guys. They live near a place that's got a 45-meter tower that they just drop shit off all the time. And yes, they test this shit all the time. The tungsten cube that you can see there weighs 19 kilos, but it's about, I think, maybe 10 centimeters squared. It's not very big.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at all of the stuff, and they do a lot of the slow motion stuff, you can actually put a lot of these videos next to each other in a row and watch the objects falling. Different objects, different densities, all falling at roughly the same rate.
Okay.
So what does that say to you?
You dropped some objects.
Right,
what we're looking for, Sci-Fi, is science, yes?
This is science.
No.
This is observable, testable, and repeatable. They've got a 45-meter tower that they repeat dropping shit off.
So you're saying you drop something, you want to know what caused the thing to fall?
Well, no, they know what causes the things to fall.
Okay.
They just like to see what effects different objects have as they drop them from this 45-meter. They dropped a plane off this fucking thing once.
How do they know?
Check that out.
How do they know what caused the thing to fall?
Because they're not idiots.
But what was it? What caused the thing to fall?
Well, we observe a natural phenomenon, which is things that accelerate at a constant
will they
rate.
be able to bring that object back up with
science
gravity?
has given that a label, and that label is gravity.
Gravity. And it's actually funny you mention that, Chemo, because in these videos, sometimes you'll notice on the fence it says warning gravity
about this thing you said you know. So will they be able to...
gravity.
Hold on.
Why?
Hold on, Cheeky. Will they be able to bring that object back up with this force that you're talking about, Cypher?
They have to fight against the force of gravity. They use a crane to get some of it up there. They use the crane to get the plane up there.
No. Slow down. Stop.
Because they can't.
So when I drop it, I'm looking at your thumbnail. If we drop it and gravity's causing it to fall, how do I bring it back up with gravity?
Sure.
You don't bring it back up.
What do you mean I can't bring it back up? Why can't I bring it back up?
I have a better question.
Why can't I bring it back up, Cypher?
Chemo. Why do I need to know why stuff fall down?
Cypher.
It just does.
Go on then, Chaikin. Go on. What's going on? Are we saying, do we agree?
Okay, perfect. All right, here I can explain
No, Cypher, you passed because you're not telling me how you bring it back up. Let Chaiki.
I don't want any explanation.
Yeah, let Chaiki go because Cypher, you can't bring it back up. Yeah.
Stuff fall to the earth. I don't know. Earth is magic. It's not like any other object I know. It's magic. Everything fall to the earth.
Yeah.
All I need to know now is what shape it is. I don't need to show you anything stick to anything else but the earth.
Okay.
And for the earth, we know everything stick to the earth.
Okay.
I don't need to show you water stick to any other ball.
Okay.
I just need to see if earth is a ball or not.
Okay.
That's all.
But that's not what I'm asking now.
Things stick to the earth. If earth is a ball, things stick to the earth that is a ball. That's all I need to show you.
Sure. But what we have, did you see Cypher's video with that cube?
It falls down, yes.
Yeah. So he dropped it and he said what caused it to fall was gravity. Right?
Yeah, I don't care, but I don't care what caused it to fall.
Well, then why are you What are you talking about? Why are you getting involved? This is science. Science.
No,
that means
because we're talking about if Earth is a ball or not.
No, I'm talking about science.
Science.
Yeah, we're talking about
Earth is a ball or not.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, science says the Earth is a globe. So the problem I've got with your example there is it's a bit like saying, hey, I rode down a river and I rode with the current and it's really, really easy. Now make that current take me back upstream. That's what Chemo has just asked.
Yeah, I was going to answer that.
There? Look at Blue's question. Look what Blue's just said. Blue's just said, how do you put the bullet back in the cartridge using the same force that
depends on what they're taking up the tower to drop off it, on what they use to get it up there. Sometimes the guys carry the objects up there.
Go on, Cypher.
Well, you wanted me to explain how they get it back up there, don't you? And when they're doing it, gravity's always pulling it towards the ground. That's why they've got to use a crane. If they would have the pin release on the crane latch that they use, it'd fall straight back down to the ground, wouldn't it? So it's sometimes the crane and it's sometimes the guys carrying the stuff up the stairs, especially this tungsten cube. The guy that, when they first get it, the guy that carries it up there says, we should have put a clip thing on this to, lift it up because it's so fucking heavy.
Okay.
It's almost like we can give it a label like something like, I don't know, potential energy.
Yeah, and the thing is, if he's not carrying if he wasn't carrying the tungsten cube, it's easier to get up the stairs. But when he's carrying the tungsten cube, because gravity's always pulling it towards the fucking ground no matter what, it makes it harder for him to carry the thing up the stairs because of its weight. It's tungsten. about 19 kilos worth of it.
I'm betting we could take something like, the weight of the mass of the object, use something like the acceleration, and then work out the amount of energy that will be expended when it hits the object below. Wow, that would be amazing if we could do shit like that. Imagine what we could do.
Craters, man. This thing is glorious to watch.
We fucking solved it. We're going to be able to build things like bridges now, and we're going to be able to build buildings that will be able to support, jacuzzis on the second floor. This is fucking phenomenal shit. Jesus, why haven't we been able to do this for the last 3 or 4, 5
Okay.
years?
Can I jump in there? Because you guys said a couple things I think I can talk about. So work, right? That's what you call like force, energy. What I think is quite telling of the globe model, and especially the heliocentric versions of it, is that you've got all this movement, a basically perpetual motion machine, but no one can harvest that energy to do anything whatsoever.
No, we can harness movement to gain energy. We do that with wind farms all the time.
Yeah, I'm talking about the movement of the Earth now, specifically, or the movement of the Earth around the sun. So either A, just real quick, so A, the rotation, perpetual motion, or B, movement around the sun, perpetual motion. How come neither of these perpetual motions can be harvested?
Again, I would deny the fact that they're perpetual motion because, we don't think things stay static without end. Change is the one, factor that we would recognize as constant.
Okay, unconditionally accept. Okay, how about this one then? How about the solar system? How about this? Okay, I accept it. I accept both those answers.
No, that's why I said thank you, because that was a very reasonable acceptance, and I appreciate it.
I totally accept both those answers. So how about the one then where you've got the solar system moving around the Milky Way galaxy? Could that motion be harvested?
Again, the scale of the thing is...
I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how you harness that sort of...
I think you're getting into... Have you heard of Kardashev levels?
No.
Yeah.
Levels of civilization.
And also, like, even if you could harvest it, that would probably... So, the whole reason perpetual motion machines cannot be used, like even if you can set it up so that, like, something moves forever and it will never, like, stop moving. The reason that you can't harvest that energy, like ad infinitum, is because you're taking energy out of that system, energy that it needs to keep moving. So if we somehow were able to magically harvest, like, the kinetic energy of the solar system moving through the galaxy, what would probably end up happening is over time it would just start to fall towards the center of the galaxy.
I have a little point to interject here, because in the heliocentric, we do have something harvesting the rotation of the Earth. It's called the moon. And it is literally harvesting our rotation to move further and further away from us.
Well, I've actually heard quite a different story, that the moon is falling towards Earth, but Earth moves out of the way, and the moon keeps missing. That's what my understanding.
That's the definition of an orbit.
That's how orbit works.
That's a bad definition of an orbit, but it's a definition of an orbit.
Okay.
Guys, this was my point. The orbit is increasing in length or distance between us by 1.5-ish inch for 3.8 centimeters a year.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to unpack that. I just wouldn't know where to begin.
No, but we know that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how you'd know that.
We know it because we have measure it. We have a reflector on it that we can laser range, and because that thing is moving, well, there's that.
Yeah, so this idea where if you were to take energy out of that system, I think, was that
so basically the moon is sapping the moon because of the orbital perturbation, because it's an elliptical orbit. It's basically slowing us down slightly, which is allowing it to push itself away.
Yeah.
So it's taking energy from our rotations to gain distance.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be a violation of natural law then?
No, because that is perfectly good, because you've got two systems that are interacting with each other. and one system is feeding from another. That's perfectly fine. So that's like a heat exchange.
Okay, so you got basically an energy exchange at that point.
Yeah, think of it like a lathe, and you have that thing spinning, and we take the engine off, so it's just spinning freely, and we turn that energy into heat by putting on a tool of some bit.
Okay, so hypothetically, once the moon is broken free of this energy cycle, then humanity could start harvesting the rotation of the Earth.
Well, no.
Well, again, I'd say that we already are harvesting the rotation of the Earth, and we do that via wind farms.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I actually got windmills by. Oh, go ahead.
Geothermal, and they also have the tidal ones they put in the ocean.
To truly harvest that, I suppose you could have the if you in some theory had a gyroscope, like a focal gyroscope, and the rotation of the Earth was cause that thing to process. You made it huge. You could have it pull a dynamo by process.
I know they were looking at there's a place up in Canada that has a massive tidal range. I mean, absolutely massive, and some of the strongest tidal currents. They were planning on putting sort of like impellers in there to generate energy. But one of the other ideas was to put a plunger in there. So the water coming in would force the plunger up, giving us our potential energy. And then we can take the sinking of that plunger and then capture that energy as electric motive energy.
No, I like the gyro. You put the big gyro in the North Pole and make it and harvest the energy. But you will end then with no day. The Earth will stop rotating. Is that what you want?
This is what okay. Not to make it sound like a question was real insightful, but for me that I came up with this idea is actually. Have you guys seen the show Eon or Eon Flux?
Rings a bell.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. So in one of the episodes, at some point in the past, they put some sort of weird defense system in space. And that defense system had people on it that were able to stay basically whatever they were doing up there perpetually because they were using the motion of the Earth to power this defense program. So at some point, the Elon or Aeon Flux, or whatever, they detect this thing up there, but they want to get to it before that clone corporation dude can get to it. Because if he gets to it, he'll have a power source and he'll be able to start colonizing the world again. Because that show, it's just the one city-state, and everything outside the city-state is completely devastated.
Yeah, point. Also, science fiction may be possible, but science fiction. Remember, Star Wars has laser swords.
That's what I'm talking about. That's where I got this. I just want to know where I got this idea from. Because a lot of people are thinking about these things too. Like, how far into science fiction can you go before it, or I mean, let me rephrase that. Like, how far into science can you go before it's just written off as science fiction? But generally, I guess I should have got this.
Well, I mean, I've read some fiction books about a cryogenics lab that had a murderer involved, but the guy that actually wrote it, he went and revised it after a few years too, and rewrote it to make it fit better. But he studied cryogenics a fair bit. So, I mean, science fiction can take a lot of cues from real life, I guess. But again, you've always got to keep in your mind that it's a story written by someone, possibly with actual scientific knowledge included in it, but it's for a story, someone to escape into.
Why wouldn't those people in Aeon Flux just put up solar panels?
I guess it was written in the 80s when solar energy still wasn't possible. I suppose. I don't know.
No, but from a practical point of view, you're talking about getting energy from some other source. But I mean, if you're in orbit, the cheapest form of energy is the sun.
It's almost too much, right? That's what they say. That
it's massively abundant. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, bombarded. Like the ISS needs all these air conditioners because it's massively overheating because the sun's energy is just bombarding it with like endless cosmic power
I just like the fact that Chemo keeps his mouth shut when people are actually who know what they're talking about are talking.
I just say my opinion of that is that he likes to be more of a facilitator. He wants to get the he's documenting the conversation, and if there isn't really somebody here, then he doesn't want to step on it.
It's because nobody's talking about.
Yeah, or topics he doesn't care about either. Everyone's got their interests.
No, he's not capable. He's not capable of talking at this level.
What I think, this is what I think was funny. When Chemo was talking, you guys kept talking about Crit and where's Crit at? And now when I'm talking, it's like, where's Chemo at?
That's a fair point.
He'd be recording for his show.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's come on already. Can we start talking about stuff instead of talking about each other?
I'm interested in what positive evidence you have for the Earth being flat. So we've talked about where you have concerns in the globe model.
Okay,
cool. I accept you have those concerns. But what I'd like is sort of the compelling evidence, the evidence that you feel compelling that actually demonstrates that the Earth is flat.
Yeah. So what I've presented today? What have you absorbed? What was anything what's your big take? Like in a few sentences, what would be your big takeaway?
At the moment, we've sort of galloped through a continual different string of topics from sort of which have all been kind of questioning the validity of the globe. I haven't really heard you, and if I've missed it, I apologize. I do try and listen.
No, that's good. I got you.
I didn't hear anything that was positively advocating a flat Earth.
Yeah. So I would look around and see the way people act towards each other, the condition that life is in, the shape, if you will. Right? You ever heard how good a shape someone's in? So they tell you all these things about endless perpetual war, election fraud, waste, and abuse. One thing after another. So the world is so messed up that people don't even know this anymore. They just kind of go about their daily life wondering what time the Kardashians are on.
What are you talking about?
Didn't you? Okay, well, this will be a good time just to listen, Brenda. I'm asking.
Well, but you were asked for something about.
I really like him, Brenda. He's been really, really polite. He's been listening. He's been responding to points, and I would like him to have the opportunity to unpack his thought.
Basically, what he says,
furious or not, is immaterial to allowing him to get his point out.
Well, basically, he's trying to study the shape of the Earth by looking at ants, how they behave.
Or the shape of humanity, if you will.
It's more a sort of like a sociological, how can this be? I mean, the one thing that I would say is, if you have the choice of living today, or say living in Central Europe during the Reformation, what would you prefer, from the point of view of personal safety?
Yeah, from a personal safety point of view, clearly the Reformation is better than mutually assured destruction. That nuclear holocaust could spout off at any second, at any given time, because one world leader insults another world leader and calls him Rocket Man.
How do you get from this to the shape of the Earth?
Yeah, I'm confused.
The metaphysic reality.
I mean, would humanity on a flat Earth behave in a different way?
Yes.
And why?
No. Sorry about that. No.
So you can't derive anything then from the behavior of humanity.
Because if globe, it would be different. Things would be different by now.
No.
Yes.
And you just said they wouldn't be different.
No, I misspoke. Yeah, I misspoke on that.
So if you say that they would be different on a globe, okay, cool. I hear what you're saying. The flat Earth caused strife, contention, violence, and the persecution of other people by other people. So what function or feature of the globe do you think that would eliminate that?
Okay, so my understanding of this globe, or heliocentric, would be that endless space would actually be endless. And there would be enough space for all ideas. The humanity wouldn't be in a point where we're basically cavemen arguing about which cave or which tribe is correct. And if that cave doesn't get their way, they'll unleash hell on Earth.
Endless space? That's the answer?
But why? Yeah. Why do you think that? Why? I don't get why.
Because you don't need to fight on it about anything because there's plenty for everyone.
There you go. Me and Cheike have talked about this many times, so I know he gets it because this is one of the things we actually agreed on on science versus pseudoscience.
Why would endless space mean that people don't fight?
So you're going to fight when something's endless? You got enough for you? More than enough for you.
Do you think all fight? I don't think all fights are about territory, are they?
About ownership, isn't it?
They're
not religion.
Sorry, I made the point earlier. We're only in our infancy. We haven't even taken our first baby step since having first gone into space. That's the thing. We have a lot of time left ahead of us. There's a lot of time behind us, and we've only just discovered on how to do it. We're still working out how to do it efficiently and to the point where we can get 45-minute suborbital flights.
Hey, Crit, isn't there endless space? Hey, Crit, isn't there endless space in the globe model?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
So what's the difference?
The difference is that should be some sort of metaphysic or psychological effect when people start looking at their neighbor as a problem.
It has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, man.
Because
this is where I'm getting to with this. Is that
I just want to say, I want to clarify what you're saying because I kind of empathize with you on this, Crit, because you could also say the idea that we're all made out of atoms and we're all made out of the same stuff should, be kind of a wake-up call that there's no, all of our problems and the things that we're quibbling about, it's kind of pointless. I mean, we're all just made out of the same stuff. So I kind of see what you're trying to get at here. If this knowledge was true, why hasn't it changed humanity? But I think you're underestimating human nature a lot. You're really not looking at what people really are like. You're kind of being idealistic.
Well, I got one for you. Carl Sagan probably said it much more elegant than I can. So Carl Sagan wrote a little note to Nixon. He said, "We came in peace for all of mankind. As you are dropping 7 tons." Oh crap! Hold on. It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So he says, "We come in peace for all mankind as you are dropping over 7.5 megatons of conventional explosives on small nations located in Southeast Asia. You congratulate yourself for your humanity that you do no harm to a lifeless rock." You know what Richard Nixon's response was? Shut up, commie, right?
So what does this have to do with the shape of the Earth?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
If Carl Sagan was still here, it'd be great to have him.
Yeah, sure, it would be great. What does this have to do? What does it have to do with the shape of the Earth?
The idea is that, I think from Crit's point of view, if I'm saying this right, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Crit, but I think what you're saying is if it's true that we live on this globe, that there's infinite space, that there's basically infinite possibilities, we have all the time in the universe to think about whatever we want, then people shouldn't be behaving the way that they are.
What?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense at all.
No, what's the reasoning for that?
What is this?
I think that's what I think. Is that wrong, Crit?
No, that's pretty much my take of Carl Sagan's take of what Nixon was doing at the only time that humanity was actually involved in manned spaceflight.
Crit, what does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
And that's not the only time man was involved with manned spaceflight. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was so humanity. The Richard Nixon flew from the Earth, supposedly, if you believe the story, went through space and went someplace else, and then came back 6 times or some shit. That's the end. 1972, manned space.
So what does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Wasn't the end. Hold on. That wasn't the end. We've had manned spaceflight since then.
Where did they go?
It's never ended.
Yeah, this feels like Jay Leno, Man in the Street, where they ask, "Hey, where's NASA been?" They're like, "Pluto, Jupiter, Mars." They went to.
There was Skylab. There was Apollo Soyuz. There was the space shuttle. There was the ISS. I mean, did you just? There was the Mir space station. Where do you think they went? The Chinese space station. You just missed all this.
Yeah, where did they go?
How does? What do you mean? Where did they go? They went.
Where did they go in your mind? What planet did they go to?
Well, again,
they didn't visit any planets. They went to low Earth orbit.
Okay, so they
we're
didn't
back
go
to talking about space
then.
when he's supposed to be telling us why the Earth is flat.
Yeah, well, that is a low Earth orbit. It's space, and if you're flying in it, that's a space flight. So saying that space flight ended with Apollo is ridiculous.
Well, saying that somehow if I walk around my house saying that I took a trip, where'd you take a trip to?
Around your house.
Yeah, that's really clever. When someone says, "Oh, I took a flight," I took a flight. I got on the airplane. And the plane went down the tarmac and back to the gate.
We don't need an analogy. We don't need an analogy. We can just work with the real thing. It's space. Listen.
Okay,
it's space. You're flying in it. That's a space flight. That's what everyone considers a space flight to be. If you've got a different definition, that's okay. But you can't, just saying there's been no space flight since Apollo. You need to say, according to my unique definition only I use, there's been no space flight since Apollo.
Yeah, okay, I'll rephrase it. So you've got Gemini and whatever, Icarus or whatever, the couple programs working up to make Apollo possible. Then Apollo ends and humanity does a sharp about face and goes back to technology that even predates.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
That's true. That's not true at all.
Crit?
They made the decision. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, I stopped to let you go. It was just a mistake.
It's all right.
They made a decision. They made a decision.
Well, what is
they decided that... Go ahead.
It's funny. What does any of this have to do with the shape of the Earth, Crit?
Yeah, I got your strategy here. You feel like I got to keep saying answers.
I want you to answer the question.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, and I've answered it. Chaiki has answered it.
You haven't.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, Danny T's broke it down for you another way.
No.
I directly quoted Carl Sagan. At this point, I know what you're doing because it's the same thing you've done multiple other times.
We know what you're doing.
You're looking for me to finally stump over some word you can take out of context and be like, I just admitted the Earth is a globe.
I'm really not. I'm wondering how you reason from, oh, look, there are wars in the world. Sometimes people treat each other badly. Yeah. The vast majority of the time, humans treat each other well. But sometimes they treat each other badly. Therefore, the Earth must be flat. I just don't see the line of reasoning that gets you from the observation of human behavior to the shape of the Earth. How do you get from one to the other?
Reason has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, logic, reason, or science.
It's derp. That's what it is.
It's incredible.
What is your reasoning?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Isn't it incredible, the level of derp in 2021? 50 years after the last manned space flight, the level of derp has exponentially increased. I can't see that.
Space flight didn't stop.
What the hell do you mean by the level of derp?
Yeah, but why are you pretending that you're... Why are you using this unique definition of spaceflight that nobody else uses? Why are you doing that? And then pretending that there's been no spaceflight since Apollo? Because that's clearly not true. There have been. Why? I don't get.
Yeah, I've seen that episode of Jay Leno.
Why are you saying that?
Yeah, I've seen the episode Jay Leno on the Street where they ask where the space shuttles are at, and you get some dude they're collecting gas around Uranus. They're flying about. The Orion Nebula. This is hilarious that some
none of that's true. Nobody's ever said that. All of that was just nonsense.
Go watch.
Nobody's ever said any of that.
Yeah, go watch Jay Leno.
No, I don't care about Jay Leno. Jay Leno's like a talk show, but I don't believe that on Jay Leno they said the space shuttle was going round Uranus. Yeah, that's just some shit you made up. Yeah, why are you making shit up? Why don't we deal with the facts? What actually happened? When you say there were no more space flights, what truthfully happened?
Yeah, after
we'll go with your shitty. We'll go with your shitty, ridiculous definition of space flight.
Okay, so after...
I need to make this clear. We're going to go with his shitty, crappy, ridiculous, absurd, unique definition of space flight. But what did happen? Describe the things that did happen.
Yeah, so right after the Apollo 17, manned space flight abruptly ends.
That's false. That's false.
They destroy the technology and they can't go back.
That's false. That's all false.
Yeah, that's all completely wrong. None of that's true. Is this the basis for your reasoning then, that the Earth's flat? Because if we can show you that what you've just said is false, then would that affect your belief that the Earth's flat?
Where is the crit line? Delineating
between what?
Yeah, what makes something a space flight and what made Apollo a space flight and the stuff that's happened since not a space flight?
Okay, so if you've got this idea with the Kármán line, the Kármán line should be repeatable, observable, and measurable if the Kármán line is actually a thing instead of just more government propaganda or basically some sort of treaty that governments sign between each other. So where's the Kármán
line? It's just a name we give to an altitude. That's all it is.
Okay, so what?
How would that be observable, repeatable? I mean, it's just. It's like saying that the 31st of May needs to be observable and repeatable. I mean,
I got it. So
it's convention for communication purposes.
Yeah, so you've got this Kármán line. It's based off the physics of gas. Then what's a Kármán line on Mars or some other place you think is also a ball? You'll be surprised.
Well, Mars has less of an atmosphere than Earth, so it'll be a lot less.
You're meant to be. You're meant to be at the moment. You're meant to be showing us why what's happened since Apollo, all the things that everyone else in the world considers to be spaceflight, why they're not space flights. That's what you need to be showing to us now.
Okay. Yeah. So the one about if an airplane pushes off the gate and goes right back to the gate, is that a flight?
Where is the crit line?
Why'd you never answer the question with the content of the question? Why does it always require some weird analogy?
I guess maybe that's
what is a space flight? What made Apollo a space flight? What qualified it to be a space flight that other space flights that we considered to be space flights didn't qualify for? How did it do that very?
Yeah, so we talk about flight first, right? Let's define terms, right? What is a flight? Right.
Traveling through the air.
Okay, so or
well, I don't know. What I know is this is what I know, Crit. Apollo was a flight, a space flight, according to you. So what made it one?
Yeah, because and
what made it one? What made it one doesn't come from me. It comes from you because this is your unique definition. So just tell us why that was a space flight and other things aren't.
Okay, so talking about flights first, let's try to break down. Maybe there's a term with like space. Like if I'm going through space, like you could say right now we're in a space flight because it is planet, ship, or Earth or whatever they.
Yeah. Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that we're.
So you're not on a space flight right now.
Flight isn't the issue.
Yeah,
space
is the issue.
Yeah, is Earth a spaceship?
No, it's not really a planet.
Earth is a spaceship. Earth is a spaceship.
Wait a second.
Dude, can I help you?
Let's try to figure this out.
Where is space?
Can I help you out? Just one sentence.
No, you can't answer, Crit.
The heliocentric model, the Earth is a spaceship, absolutely, because it's moving from one space to the other inside of space.
It's not what we're talking about.
Anything to distract.
Where is the crit line? Where is the crit line?
Crit's 100% right.
That's the question.
Yeah, I know.
Where is the
I'm
crit
trying
line?
to help out. Okay, so here we go, right? You've got this heliocentric model. So what is space and what is flight? So can we unconditionally accept, like if I say, is the Earth flying in space? Yes or no? Can we accept that? I would say yes, based off the heliocentric model.
I'm going to say, Crit, again, what you need to do is tell us why you are defining space in this way. That does not require any information from anybody else. We need to know your thoughts. How you think about this does not depend on how I think about it. So why are you dismissing what the rest of us call space flights as not space flights? What did they not do that they needed to do to be space flights? I want your thoughts.
Yeah, and it has
I'm not answering any questions. And I'm not going to let anyone else either.
Okay, so this has to do with a failure to communicate, which is basically which is basically what Carl Sagan was citing when he asked Nixon about why he thinks he's such a great humanitarian for declaring peace against a lifeless rock as he bombed third world countries.
Did Sagan tell us where you think space begins?
No, he didn't. He didn't, did he?
And you didn't either, Crit. Why are you talking about Nixon?
Yeah, see, this is the thing. I'm talking about Nixon is because he's the only guy that I would say has a positive claim that he did a manned spaceflight. So if I try to
Nixon didn't go to space. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Nixon,
he said
President Nixon.
Yeah, he said we.
What? But Crit, you agree that Apollo was spaceflight. You say trips to the ISS are not spaceflight.
Yeah, okay, I got one for you. I think I got it. I got it. Ready? A space flight would no longer be measuring your distance from the Earth at sea level. You would then start measuring your distance from the center of mass. Like you wouldn't say, "I just took a trip to the moon."
Suborbital flight, you mean?
Yeah, you say, "I just took a trip to the moon." Like, oh, how far away did you go? Oh, I went like 240,000 miles off sea level. No, you start talking about this.
The ISS switch over happen?
Yeah, you start if you're in a manned space flight, you would look towards the center.
Okay, where does this occur? In your mind, where does this switch over occur?
Yeah, so when they basically went from the Earth to the moon, they stopped measuring their altitude at some point, right?
Where? At what point? That was the question.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Their story is completely bullshit. It's hard to unpackage the level of stupid that NASA and Nixon were doing in the 60s and 70s.
No, so Curved asked you at what point? At what point?
Okay, at what point do you stop measuring altitude? I don't know.
And it's not true.
Can I stop this silliness? Because you guys.
It's not true either. It's not true. If you can look at the Apollo flight journal, and they constantly report their distance from Earth all the way to the moon.
Has nothing to do with it. Your arbitration space starts at 60 miles. That's where the fantasy begins. So, this gentleman is absolutely right in what he's telling you. You have not made a space flight since then.
Essie, you don't understand the argument.
Let me finish. According to your own definition of the Kármán line.
That's false.
How simple is that?
That's false.
That's completely false, idiotic nonsense. So it's very well. Okay, I'll tell you. We have made space flights over the Kármán line. So there you go.
Where? Who?
I mean, where?
Who?
All space flights. All space flights that have ever occurred are above the Kármán line. That's what made them space flights.
Right. So the arbitrary line that we say is space is at 62 miles, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so what manned mission has made it past that from the 60
ISS.
The ISS. Name me one.
The ISS.
The ISS?
SpaceX going to ISS.
Really? How high is the ISS?
Going to ISS.
The space shuttle missions. Every single. How many were there? About 100 or whatever. All of that is.
The ISS is 200 miles above the Earth.
Okay, so that is the only flight that has taken place, right? To the ISS, correct?
Amateur rockets have gone past the Kármán line.
Okay, so what other space flights have been taken place besides?
What do you mean? What other? There were dozens and dozens of shuttle flights.
Yeah,
and then there have been dozens and dozens of flights, Soyuz flights to the ISS. So you can't say. But apart from that one flight, because you're talking about now hundreds of flights.
Okay, but
so
we've
apart from
reached the
your question now is apart from the hundreds of space flights, what space flights have there ever been? Well,
okay,
there have been hundreds.
To the ISS, correct? We'll give you that. How come we've only traveled to the ISS in 60 years? How come?
That's not the argument.
No, right. Not only to the ISS.
It has a problem defining why Apollo.
Like he said, the technology has been destroyed. He is correct. We destroyed the technology to travel.
There's an argument that you're rodeo clowning from, SE.
What?
Right now, you're rodeo clowning. You're coming in here to take the heat off a Crit and deflect the argument, deflect the attention away from him. answer the goddamn question.
Don't you find it funny that we've only traveled to the
funny that you won't shut up and let Crit answer the question?
I don't find it funny. You know why I don't find it funny? Because I looked up the reason why that occurred. Instead of just going, that's funny, I'll pretend that it's evidence of some other thing. I won't bother to investigate what the reason for that is. I'll just make up my own reasons and pretend and create a fantasy surrounding them.
No fantasy. We know the reason. It's
okay. What's the reason?
Money. It's always money, funding. They promise one thing, and then 3 years later they claim funding.
That's not true.
It. There's your mystery answer.
What they did, I've said this many times, is Nixon commissioned a committee to look at NASA's spending. They produced a report in 1970. That report laid out the plan for NASA for the future, which was to build a reusable spacecraft, to build a space station, and to do robotic missions to the other planets in the solar system. That's exactly what we've seen happen since Apollo.
Really? So you've missed.
Listen. The thing that they said that they were going to do, that they laid out in a document that was written in 1970, that you can go and read, is exactly what happened. So no, I don't think that making a plan and affecting that plan makes something funny. I think that means that's exactly what we would expect to see.
Can I rebut you?
Go ahead.
If I may. Okay, now, what you said is... you can't be more wrong than that, Jem, if you tried. Now,
explain to me which part of that is incorrect.
How many presidents since then, since the statement you made told us we were going to go on the moon?
Irrelevant.
All reneged. I'll let that go. Okay?
Irrelevant. Now, totally irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant. How so, Jem? How is that totally irrelevant?
Because stuff gets said when people are electioneering. These things get said. What matters is what the actual written down plan was, and we know what that was, and the written down plan is what happened. Doesn't matter that some president had a few too many to drink and said something he shouldn't have done at a press dinner or something.
You're kidding. You have to make that statement in front of your audience.
Now that SE has derailed everything, let's get back to Crit and him explaining.
Hold on, Brenda, we're not done here. So,
this
Jem,
is derailed.
Jem,
this is derailed. You're done.
Now,
you're done.
Do you agree that they said we're going to shut up, Brenda? We said we're going to go to the moon in 2024. Moon base on the moon. Do you agree with that, Jem?
They have said
that. That is written down in stone.
No, it's not.
Yes or no?
No, it's not written down in stone. That's not true.
No, it's not. I knew you would say that. Well, go have research.
Well, the reason I'm saying that... Listen, Essie, the reason I'm saying that's not written down in stone is because that's not written down in stone, okay? Unless you can show me... Unless you can... No, I'm disagreeing with the idea that this is written in stone. If you can show me the stone that this is written in, then I will concede. But until you do...
It's written on paper. Do you agree that it's written on paper?
I'm not exactly sure. But what I would say is that with big infrastructure projects like this, we expect them to run behind schedule. That is very common.
50 years. Yes, I expect that as well, Jem. Yes, that's the first correct thing you've said so far.
That is very common with any large infrastructure project, especially a publicly funded one.
Okay, so let's do something small then. Something very small. The space hotel.
Back to Crit.
Let's get back to Crit. I don't know about anything about any space hotels.
I'll tell you. I'll clue you in. The space hotel is slated for this year. It's going to be an attachment to the ISS. So I'm really looking forward to this, Jem. How about you?
Okay. Show me a citation for that. I'd like to see that.
You haven't heard about the space hotel?
Oh, you're asking for citations
about it, but I haven't seen that it's. I haven't seen that it's planned for this year.
Okay, when I get to my computer, I will.
Seems unlikely, but it may be. It may be
the guide that the U.S. government wants to stop funding the ISS. So what they want to do is sell it on the private sector, and that is an idea that some of the people in the private sector have for it.
Really, Sean? When was this?
I've certainly heard that before, but I don't know whether converting it into a hotel this year is a bit of a stretch from that.
Yeah, and I didn't. Well, no, they were going to start construction of it in 2025. I heard, but that's again not even set in concrete yet because they can't find the funding for it. They're trying to find investors wealthy enough, willing to put the money into it because it's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. Think about it. A space hotel is a huge fucking risk.
Yo, sorry, what's speaking. There was a few articles shared a few weeks ago. It was about this hotel, and I saw the date 2021 in some of them, and some of them were official. I think one of the articles was official NASA, that when the ISS was gonna be over on 2021, and it was gonna be a hotel. So the first civilians were gonna stay in the hotel in 2021. Is what I read in an article.
Yeah, we did it on Jose's show. Yep, pictures and all.
So what?
What do you mean, so what?
What is the point? What you make? So what? What point are you making?
I will tell you the point. I will make a prediction.
I'm looking forward to it.
We are not going to see the space hotel in 2021. There you go.
Okay, great.
Okay,
brilliant.
Wonderful. That's not a point.
Right, so let's get back to Crit and why and his definition of what is and isn't a space flight, please.
Okay, so when I went to Smithsonian, Air and Space, they got this installation thing you can walk into, and as you walk through it, above it says American manned space flight, and they start out you going through history, and they show you the rockets. There's like a mock-up of a rocket. There's a little toy that you can look at and take a picture of, and you walk through the timeline. And it shows how Russia was winning the space race, and it shows the amount of time or how far things got away from Earth. It shows, Russians got this high or this far away from Earth. Then Americans got this far, this far, this far. And it goes tit for tat. And once you get to the end of the manned spaceflight expedition at the Smithsonian, it abruptly ends at 1972, and you exit the history of manned spaceflight. So there would be my definition. Why wouldn't, if your idea is true, of that manned spaceflight continued, why doesn't that expedition just simply keep on wrapping around the Smithsonian? Why does it start in like 62 and then abruptly end in 72? My take on this would be that you could. Yeah, I took video.
To see that because I don't believe that this thing says right. At the end of this exhibition, it says right. That's all the space flights there were. All the manned space flights there were. There weren't any more. If you've taken that meaning from it, you've derived that meaning in some way, then I think you've got yourself confused.
Yeah, because the 73 version. So you walk into an installation exhibit.
Well, I'd need to be able to see that what you're saying is true because I think you're making it. I think you're making it up, or you've missed some bits of it that it maybe mentions at the end what they went on to do. Maybe it was meant to cover the beginning of early manned space flight. Who knows? Well, but I don't think that.
Yeah, you add a word early to it, and I just call it manned spaceflight. I don't need to add another adjective to it.
So this is just a word game then, really, isn't it?
If you really get to the end of it, sure. You could say all this stuff is words because it's been, in my opinion, 50 years since anybody has left Earth.
Okay, so let's, just for you then, just for you then, we won't call them space flights. We'll call them flobby flights, okay?
Well, you can call them space flights.
Because you've got your own unique definition, we might as well have a completely new word for it just for those.
Well, it seems to be all about the destination to him.
Yeah, I understand what you mean when you say space flight. For you, it's anything above like whatever the Kármán line is. But then my follow-up question would be like, how do you define this Kármán line then? Can you just simply move?
Arbitrary.
So I'm in space right now then.
I thought the Kármán line was basically set.
Is.
Yeah, I could be in space right now.
It's based on when a jet engine will stop working, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think. But
also, if jet engine technology decreases or increases,
about the ability of the atmosphere being dense enough to sustain aerodynamic lift.
Okay, so not about space.
It's not an exact thing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so not about space. About
potentially, I'm sure you could make some huge, very light aircraft or something that you know could go beyond this limit or something. It's just a line that we.
This was something that was chosen. This was part of the criteria to get the approximate range.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's interesting for me because if I try to,
because something magic happens at 62 miles, and you notice that 62 miles correlates to 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers was what they chose to just round it off. It's an approximate, arbitrary selection.
Yeah, and I kind of feel that isn't really science. That's government, and I'm not really happy about that.
It's not like suddenly at exactly 100 kilometers, boom, magic happens.
Well, it does because if you pass that line, you get some sort of award.
Nothing magic happens. Don't say that again.
No, you do though.
The problem is that when we're talking about this, lift is generated by wings. Wings are different. So we can say generally planes won't work above the Kármán line. I suspect you could probably get one that will do 62.1 maybe. Maybe it can just creep up there because it's got the right type of wing or the right weight ratio to wingspan ratio, whatever. That's all it is. It's just a good indicator of where we're drawing a line of where we need to change the type of propulsion we're using.
Hey, Crit, when are you going to tie this back to how any of this shows the shape of the Earth?
Right.
I'm actually still waiting for the positive evidence that you promised me.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
And you've given me some great opinions and some great thoughts, and I appreciate that. But I didn't ask for your opinion or your thoughts. I asked for your evidence.
Okay, yeah. So, what would you take as evidence? Observations?
Generally, yeah. I like empirical observations are pretty cool. That's always good.
Yeah. So, if I tell you I can look out at the world, and I see the first thing we talked about, right? There's an endless parade of human depravity, and it's getting worse.
But
I'm just paraphrasing my old point. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first point,
the old point. I heard that and I remember.
Then the second point, I can look around. And the second point is I can look around that I see no curvature and I feel no rotation. So I'm like, huh. So that validates the first point.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Let me just ask a couple more follow-up questions, then I'm going to shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
This work. So the question I'll say, not all things we can eyeball. Would you agree with that?
I'm sorry. Say that second part.
We can't just eyeball stuff to get it shape. I mean, especially when we're talking about the very small or the very large.
Oh yeah, you can take measurements and then do experimentation and lots of different things to get what the real shape of something is.
Yeah. So an anecdotal, it looks flat, isn't really evidence to me because it's not empirical. It's kind of a colloquial observation. Let's call it that.
Yeah, it would be the first step of the scientific method.
Yeah.
Observe something and then describe what you're seeing. So I observe the Earth and it's flat and stationary.
It looks flat is a hypothesis. It's not an observation.
No, and I don't think you observe the Earth either. You observe a very small part of the Earth, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good argument that the Earth is so big it actually appears to be flat. That's really interesting.
Yeah, what's wrong?
Or it's moving so slow that you don't feel the movement.
So what is it?
Doesn't appear to be flat.
One rotation every 24 hours is pretty slow, isn't it?
So, Crit, what does the depravity, the human depravity that you see, how does that relate to the shape of the Earth?
Because if the Earth was a globe, it would be infinite space around us. If there was infinite space, we wouldn't have contention, and it's the contention of our enclosed flat Earth that is causing evil.
Why are you answering, Druss? Why are you doing that?
No, because he gets it. That's what I'm saying. Instead of me trying to keep saying the same thing over and over again, somebody who at least understood the words coming out of my mouth can paraphrase for me. Because a lot of times, this is what you
try this. Instead of other people answering for you, why don't you answer the actual question?
Yeah. Okay.
And he's paraphrasing senseless nonsense. It doesn't. Why would that be the case? It's ridiculous.
Okay, so if you've got this idea that humanity is nothing but a bunch of cavemen still trapped in tribalism, still arguing about...
That isn't what I see. I think it's very sad that when you look at humanity, this is all you see. This depravity that you see. Because I don't see that. I see wonderful, inspiring human beings that, generally speaking, are just trying to get on with their lives and don't want to bother anybody else, don't want to do anybody any harm. I don't see this terrible depravity everywhere. I think it's awful.
Did you watch the news yesterday in America? What happened in DC?
Yeah. What about
it? So what?
You don't see anything wrong with what happened? That's normal. Just human
behavior.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there aren't bad things in the world. I just don't see the world as generally this bad, depraved place that you're talking about. That isn't what I see around me. If I look out my window now, there's no depravity to be seen. It's just people going about their day in a completely non-depraved way.
Have you ever been to India, Jem?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too, because at some point...
You seen any depravity there, Jem, in India?
Again, I'm not saying there isn't depravity in the world. I'm saying that is not my overall impression, and I do not believe that it's yours either. You're already telling me, in order to experience this terrible depravity that's everywhere, I've got to go to India.
No, I'm just saying there is depravity. We're just lucky we live in the part of world where we are shielded by that.
We live in a part of the world where there's no depravity, and yet the world is completely depraved, according to Crit. I don't buy it, but I also don't see, I think that the depravity is the result of humanity and the way that humans behave. And they would behave in that exact same way, whatever the shape of the earth is. And this idea that there's some endless land somewhere would just solve all human problems and nobody would fight anymore because we've got endless land, I don't think that that's true in any way.
I will agree with you on that, Jim, 100%. We'll fight no matter what. That's the truth.
So, Crit, what is the connection between the human depravity and the shape of the earth again?
What will happen, Jim, if people will take over that land and build buildings and fucking intoxicate the land?
What land?
What land?
The land
Go take over Antarctica. Go kill yourselves, idiots. Knock yourselves out.
The land there it is, right there. That's what I'm talking about.
What is the connection, Crit?
Yeah, Brenda, you keep asking the same question. Like all these answers haven't been filled in for you yet.
No, you don't answer it though.
Well, all you've come up with is this sort of theory about land that apparently, if there's unlimited land, that would just stop people from stop them from fighting about stuff. But I don't think that's true, is it?
Well, look at the cities.
I don't see how that's true.
So maybe I can get. So maybe
you get all your resources. Hold on, you get all your resources in the same place. You get people to work and build buildings, and take all the resources out. While people get to live on other islands where it's all organic and free from intoxication and people pollutions.
I don't know what that is. 1100. It's just gibberish. So, Crit, I want to mirror.
How do you get a processor to work? How do you get a processor to work in your computer? You have all that processing power in one spot, don't you? You spread out all your processing power.
Fuck nuttery.
You spread out all your processing power. You don't get a faster processor, do you? So you can gain more money and more momentum by keeping everybody in the middle.
So I'd like to ask Crit. So Crit, I want to mirror your argument back to you. You're saying you see all this depravity, and if the Earth was a globe, there would be endless space, and there would be nothing to fight over. And so the endless depravity that you see shows that the Earth can't be a globe, because otherwise we'd have endless space to explore, and there'd be no reason to fight. Is that what you are saying?
If I lead in and whisper in your ear, Chad-like, and say, yes, will you stop asking me the question?
I have a follow-up question.
Okay, I lean in, just like Chad, Giga Chad at this point, and I say, yes.
Okay, so how does that figure out? Because we are on the planet Earth, and it's hard to get to all that endless space.
Some of it's uninhabitable.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It almost take you have to set aside your past disagreements and work together.
No, so
to make something happen.
Right.
But no one's willing to do that.
So it's hard to get there.
No, it's not hard. You can work together very easily. You just simply set aside your past disagreements and start working towards a common goal, a common good.
It's really hard to get there.
You can't. The hard part is actually people getting them to, hey, will you work together with me to accomplish this goal? And the person's like, nah, I got some ends that I need to accomplish.
They said yes. 11 countries said yes. Let's work together and have an international space station.
Yeah, there you go.
And yet,
depraved as they are, they managed to agree in their depraved way.
So America pays what, 90% of the bill, then Russia pays 5%. So the two countries that pay virtually the whole bill are actually trying to start civil wars inside the country's borders using Russian sock accounts and other sort of CIA black ops. And you piece that together.
What?
How?
What are you talking about now?
No, how is
never heard this before, have you?
Have to do with the shape
you
of
talk
the Earth.
about anything except the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, so we just saw yesterday
something happened. Earth is flat. Your belief that the Earth is flat seems to be dependent upon, in no way, upon any feature of the Earth.
Yeah,
just the people that are on it.
Too. That was my second point.
You mentioned in passing.
The shape of humanity.
Yeah, it's your second point.
You haven't made a point.
Yeah, Brendan even heard it.
No,
I don't think you can say this stuff as an adult, dude, really. That you can honestly believe.
So yeah, already this morning it says what happened yesterday is likely to blame from Russian propaganda on social media. The outburst in the Capitol will likely be blamed on Russian propaganda spreading fake news.
It wasn't your president saying, we're not going to let them steal this election, are we? It wasn't him. It was some Russians that wound people up.
Yeah, well,
it's unbelievable.
Rich Canadian.
His mental health isn't very good. He's probably... his mental health isn't doing a very good job because you can see that
Trump was... fucking head.
Yeah, his mind's maybe
American or Canadian?
Too. American.
Get the fuck out.
See, this is exactly.
Go be Canadian. I don't want you.
Curved is the type of dude. Remember, I told you the story where we go door to door trying to prevent the war in Iraq. Curve's the type of dude why we had to walk in pairs, because you get these psychopathic idiots start talking about leave my country. If you're against Bush, you're with the terrorists. See, he's the type of dude that proves my point.
That's not why I want you to get the fuck out. It's because you're a goddamn embarrassment.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you for that. But you're not man enough.
You're a mom.
Yeah, you're not man enough,
answer simple questions directly.
You're a keyboard warrior on the internet and a quite hilarious person to talk to.
Retard.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you.
What do you want? Are you trying to issue a challenge to me to meet you face to face and call you a retard? What is your point?
What's your takeaway from that?
We're in a Discord. What do you want from me?
Yeah, go around and just start calling people retards that you disagree with who are embarrassment to the world. How about that? See how well that worldview works out for you.
I
find some other topic.
What's the point?
Wait, hold on, I'll show you. Find some other topic.
You retards nonstop.
Find some other topic that you don't.
And you disagree with. From the fucking argument.
Yeah, I got you. Find some other topic that you disagree with that you find is an embarrassment, and go see how other people take you, how serious they think you are. They'll laugh at you too, because it's a joke, dude. It's completely hilarious.
No leg
you
to
think
stand
somehow
on, Chris.
that you've got some sort of like pull.
You're in here LARPing as a flat earther, yet
you'll get to decide.
Refuse to provide any evidence.
Yeah, I got you. And I've talked about multiple different things, and each of them gone completely over your head with your final full
Nothing has
understanding.
gone over my head.
Yeah, wait, completely over your head.
No,
so here's
you're irrelevant. How can it go over my head when your misdirected bullshits going the other way?
I'm a draft dodger. Should I go to Canada too? Just like Nixon said. Nixon said, "Man, if you ain't going to fight in Vietnam, just go to Canada."
This has nothing to do with the shape of the earth.
You regurgitated Nixon talking points in 2021.
You're going to choke on your regurgitation if you don't stop.
It's time to move past this Nixon era attitude and start looking at the world as a full and complete place. And when you can do that,
I do.
You don't. You just told me now. You said get out of America, retard. What is wrong? You think that's a viable argument?
It has a finite surface area. We got all that.
Yeah, what type of
You're lost?
Yeah, what type of person in 2021 is move to Canada, retard? That's your full argument for the globe.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's my full argument for why you
not curve the retard. He can stay where he is.
You're a retard. You're an embarrassment. I don't want you to the country. That's not an argument for the globe.
Yeah. You know what's even more hilarious is there's more people who question Apollo on the globe side than for the other side.
You think that's an argument for the globe?
Yeah, I got it, dude. You got the Bert Sobel guy, the guy who did like a funny thing happened to way in the moon. He hates flat earthers even more than you do.
Globe crit.
Yeah, he hates flat earthers even more than you. He's going around trying to silence flat earth because he thinks it's government propaganda, trying to undo.
He's pissing on himself.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? That more people who actually call out Nixon's bullshit. The last time they did a poll of this, that 10% of Americans said that the lunar mission definitely did not happen, and even more so, don't even care.
A poll says the Earth is flat.
Yeah, so how about this? If anyone says, "Hey, Curve," if anyone says Apollo didn't happen, are they retards who should move to Canada?
All retards should move to Canada.
Okay, and you're going to be an arbitrator of your subjective reality is now to become objective. Find me another retard.
Dude, the Earth is a globe. That's objective.
I just want to go back to a point that you made, Cret, which is, the reason for, the protest up at the Capitol building. So what I've done is I've tagged you and I've posted the transcript from his Save America rally speech. Please read that and see if you come to the same conclusion.
And I let you know that Trump was probably tricked by a lot of these other online sources. He's human too.
He was tricked.
He just has a bigger pulpit.
It was all a trick.
What? Well,
you basically know that. Yeah, Facebook says we are taking steps to knock down and facilitate fake accounts on Facebook.
What, have you guys given up the flat Earth discussion now then, or something?
Wait.
Oh,
it became a crit show.
Any kind of
it became the crit show about
who
who
not capable.
Crit doesn't want to argue flat Earth.
Yeah, it became the crit show about who Curve thinks is retarded.
No,
and who
it's
should move to Canada.
Crit doesn't want to argue about flat Earth. Crit wants to bring in politics and other.
Yeah, as soon as you invoke me as your only proof of the globe, that's quite. If I know you're willing to lie about me,
I never invoked you as proof of the globe.
You did.
You're a goddamn liar.
And so as soon as you said this,
how did I do that?
How about this? I'll tie it for you in. I'll tie it in. As soon as I know you're willing to lie about me, damn right I know you're willing to lie about the globe.
That is not my argument for the globe. You're a liar. You're lying in front of everyone and acting like you're not.
It's my way of rebutting anything you ever say ever again. I just sunk your battleship. You made a false claim about me. And until that claim has been retracted
the spirit
or modified, you're dismissed, dude. I don't need to hear any more shit.
No, he didn't do that at all. You're just an idiot.
Yeah, there's straight up. He said all retards, including Crit, need to be deported to Canada.
I think
Let's see if there's one other person. Can we get another buy-in?
Kurt, I actually think you should probably ask rocket scientists before you go sending them all to Canada. He might take offense at that.
Hey, check
they have that healthcare system there that can better.
Can we get a buy-in? I want to get a globalist buy-in on that. Does anyone else feel
it? How can anybody argue with you when you never shut the fuck up?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Tell me about all these retards that you see.
You have no point to make. All you're doing is lying and misrepresenting what. And now, is he already doing it?
Curved.
I'm trying to get shit to work. I can't hear anything.
Man, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was fun.
Now I hear something that's got to go away. Crit, anyway.
Oh, maybe you will just disappear one day.
What you need to do, Crit.
From my
Stacey,
mind.
shut the fuck up. What you need to do, Crit, is respond to the questions that are asked of you. Have the same conversation everyone else is having. Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, it basically that means if you ask me something and I give you an answer, even if you don't understand it, that doesn't mean I'm retarded. That probably means that you're retarded because other people have got it.
Well, we don't need to argue about whether we understand your answer or not. The point is, your answer needs to be a response to the actual question, not a diversion from it.
Okay, here we go. I got a perfect example.
Too much for you to understand, then my claim that you are retarded stands.
So if you ask me what is the answer to life, universe, and everything, and I tell you 42, and you just don't get it, that doesn't make me retarded. I gave you my answer. My answer is 42. Now you need to work out why you're not understanding the answer.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, it is what we're talking about.
No,
if you ask, it should be called the Socratic method. You ask a question to try to understand my point of view better, not to understand less. It's like the opposite. It's like
it's not possible.
Employ the Socratic method. You don't drink the fucking hemlock.
Yeah, ask me a question. Watch, we'll do it in real time. Ask me anything you want.
I've just spoken to Broomfondle, and he says you're wrong. The Earth is a globe.
Okay, well, thank you.
Hey, Crit, question for you.
Well,
actually, more of a statement. If
I'm looking for a question.
How tall are you? And you answer, well, the neutron stars in the galaxy say the Earth is flat. How does that answer the question how tall you are?
Okay, did you get
you understood
the answer, right? I did give you an answer.
Got lailed.
Holy shit, he can't even answer that question.
No, he says a statement. Can't. It was a hypothetical question with a hypothetical answer.
I was giving you an example.
Yeah. So in your example, here we go. In the example,
how tall you are, and you say, "Well, how many neutron stars are in the galaxy?"
Yeah. There we go. So here's a hypothetical question. Yeah, hypothetical question.
What does that have to do with how tall you are?
I'll help you out here. I'll help you out. Ready? You've got a hypothetical question and a hypothetical answer. So if you say
how tall you are is not hypothetical.
It can be in this hypothetical version of reality.
No, it cannot.
Okay, try again. Ask me anything.
Holy fuck.
Don't give me this hypothetical answer. Just ask a question.
How tall are you?
5'11".
Perfect. That's a good answer.
Now do you understand that? So even if you don't understand what 5'11" means, you still
understand.
No, but some people might not.
Assuming that I don't.
Okay, please stop interrupting me. If you don't understand
what you never stop talking, no one's
real quick. This is real quick. Even if you don't understand what 5'11" means, there's somebody who says, "I've never heard what I use metric," and someone said 5'11". What does that even mean? And then
I use metric, and I could tell you what it was, but
but some people might not, right? So this is the idea.
Some people might not.
Let's talk about me.
Okay, listen, please. Just because you get an answer you don't understand, it doesn't all of a sudden make it not an answer.
Yeah, but
I didn't answer. I understand what 5'11" is, and so does Curb.
Yeah, but other people might not.
Question and say how many neutron stars are in the galaxy. That has nothing to do with the answer.
Yeah, but someone might not understand it.
I think the original question is, how do you know about how much hidden land there is? I think that was his original question. Correct me if I'm wrong, Curb.
So neutron star, you can connect anything.
No,
this is actually a very okay. Stop interrupting you. I'll answer you. Listen, I'm answering you right now. People play a game show called 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, where they can take any topic and roki-doke it back to Kevin Bacon. So if you could ask me a question and be like, "Yo, neutron stars," you would be able to connect that because there's people who've actually said that your bones are made of stars. Then you could say, "What's my share of that star material?" And then say, based off my share of that star material, my bones would make this height possible. Yeah, see how easy that is to roll. There's a problem with you guys don't understand the question.
How do you know about this hidden land if it's hidden? Go.
This is the issue. You don't know about the question.
How do you know about
Yes, I did.
land?
I just asked the question. I know all about it.
When did I make a claim
to
hidden land?
If it's hidden, go.
I never made a claim to hidden land.
Then what was this whole argument about hidden land about then?
Yeah, you missed something very
inference of your argument.
Yeah, you missed something. That for me, I feel.
Oh no, we didn't miss the goddamn thing. Do you not even know what you're arguing?
Yeah, I made no claim to hidden land.
He's branched off so many time curves in the last hour and a half. It's unbelievable. He's gone in so many fucking different directions with topics. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I'm also having multiple different levels of. You ready? I'll explain it. Listen, Nemesis.
Canada, you're safe as fuckwit can never find you.
Check this out. Ready? This is how you connect that. I've had multiple different layers of conversations at multiple different levels with multiple different people. That's why it might seem kind of chaotic to you, because it's been chaotic.
No.
Yeah, it's been absolutely chaotic.
No, that's not what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what's been happening.
No.
Hidden land if it's hidden.
I'll go talk to whoever you think started that part and go with that.
Well, as when I came into the room, that's what you were talking about. And so I'm just picking up where you decided to deflect from. If the land,
I've never talked about hidden land. Are you talking about Hyboria? Is that what you're talking about? This concept
I
of.
don't know what they're talking about. But
okay, I'm asking you a question. Are you talking about Hyboria?
The type of area, by the way.
Yeah, whatever it is. I don't even know it. I barely heard people talk about it. Is that what you're talking about, dude? Are you talking about this hyperborea?
And that's kind of like what Scandinavia.
Oh my god, dude, this guy can't even answer a yes or no question. Are you talking about hyperborea or whatever it's called?
Into hyperdiarrhea very soon.
Hidden land.
No.
What hidden
just
land?
No, and elaborated. When I came into the room, everyone was talking to you about this hidden land crap.
Okay,
Tell
what
me about
hidden land?
If it's hidden, how do you know about it?
Okay, what hidden land are you talking about?
I don't know. That's what they were talking to you about when I
Are
came
you talking about Atlantis?
I don't know which land they were talking about. They were asking you about it, and you were deflecting like you're doing now. If it's hidden, how do you know about it?
Is this going back to the Eon Flux conversation? Is that maybe you got confused? We're talking about a science fiction show?
Oh, we're talking about hidden land, and how do you know if it's hidden? If it's hidden.
Yeah, was this in context to the Aeon Flux? Do you remember that part? Were you there for that?
No, I was not.
Okay, was this talking about Jules Verne, like Journey to the Center of the Earth? Or
we were never talking about Jules Verne.
Yeah, or was this talking about Sir Conan Doyle's
no, we were never talking about Conan Doyle.
You said land hidden.
Yeah, so we're talking about literature and science fiction.
We were never talking about that.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were, Brenda. This might have been you missed it.
Really were.
I'm still upset that you don't know who Broomfundle is.
Who is?
Broomfundle.
No, yeah. Who is it? Let me know.
Better, I don't
because know you quoted.
Do you want me to Google it?
You quoted the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, yet you don't know the two philosophers who were then assigned to go and find the answer, which is the question to the meaning of life.
Yeah, I got you.
And one of those philosophers was Broomfundle.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was a very short bit. I don't remember those guys.
Okay, let's rephrase the question.
Because you watched the film and you didn't read the book.
There's hidden land.
And you know this how?
That was a question. I said.
No, he said he made a claim. There's another claim about Crit that I had read I saw the movie. I didn't read the book. And how do you know this?
He asked the question, do you believe there's hidden land?
No, he made the statement, I saw the movie. I didn't read the book.
For God's sake, retract the statement, for God's sake.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm still wondering why I just got fucking muted for that.
I know he got muted. I actually
it's completely irrelevant and a total distraction. Okay. And the only reason you said it was so you could show off that you'd got some obscure knowledge of some book. That's why, I guess.
Okay, I can't argue.
It wasn't me that did it, by the way.
Okay, hidden land.
Dress is a show off. Dress is a show off.
Okay, so I just typed in hidden land.
And it bugs me.
Hidden land into Google, and this is what I get. You get this Balbapapia, a sort of supposedly hidden island off the Coral Islands for Pokemon.
think the question that I had.
The next thing I look up when I do hidden land.
The question was to you: do you believe that there's hidden land on Earth?
Sure, there's hidden land on Earth. I believe there's.
If it's hidden.
Because I don't know about it, so there's probably things I don't know. I don't even know.
He knows about it because he doesn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Leo,
have I mapped out?
He doesn't know about it.
Yeah, have I mapped out the whole Earth? Can I say there might be some space missing? There's actually if you look up the this island off the coast, there's a supposedly that
space missing.
Okay, there's supposedly this island off the coast of Australia that has been missing from maps for about 100 years.
It's called New Zealand. Yes, it's been missing.
The other side, the west side.
The west side.
The west side of Australia used to have an island there on really old maps. Do you guys have
is it a conspiracy? Is it a conspiracy? Is that it?
No, if you look at really old maps, it shows a small island.
Yeah, so there's a conspiracy to hide it then, right?
No, I didn't say that. I said missing or hidden, right?
Well, if it was there,
there's not one there now, that's for sure. So if there was an island, it's been swallowed by the sea, which makes it uninhabitable.
Wasn't it an error that was repeated or something? I think I've heard this.
This is what I'm talking about. I can use Google to sink your battleship. It's called the Phantom Island.
You haven't done anything.
I just did right now.
I could look it up myself if I wanted to. I don't think you've got anything that sinks any. Like, that's a ridiculous thing that you keep saying. I'll sink your battle. Like, how fucking old are you?
Dude, this is what I do. This is kind of my shtick. Like, I come up with a mantra that it changes day to day.
You've got that one.
It's kind of a funny thing I do. Okay, every once in a while I come up with a.
Earth came to be.
If people know the people who know me. Here, listen.
Every day.
Yeah, listen, the people who know me kind of know I do this. It's kind of a funny thing that they come up with. And for a while, people are keeping track of what I said.
Then we should just know not to ever engage with you then, right?
Sure, if that's what you want to do, do you.
I was literally just thinking that. In fact, I'd like to...
I think you are quite a decent chap to engage with. I'll give you that. As far as
you too.
go.
I've talked to you for probably a dozen times now.
Makes you say that. We've talked before, haven't we? I know.
Yeah, so I can't think of any time I've actually left this server upset, except for one time I kind of got upset the way a woman was being treated, but then I realized, hey, it's none of my business, whatever. So I don't have a problem with any of you guys. In fact, I really enjoy this part of Discord, because I think at some point...
Yeah, because you're getting a lot of attention. A lot of attention.
Is it just me, or does Crit remind anyone else of M. Scott Beach? Please tell me I'm not the only one hearing this.
Yeah.
Just version.
Okay, check it out. Ready? This is what I'm talking about, hidden land. Okay, I can sink your battleship.
This
okay.
Posted in chat at 9:37 is off the west coast of Australia.
There we go. So now there's land that was hidden from you. Yeah, that land was hidden from you, right?
Are you talking about the nuclear islands that they use in like the
no.
Shut the fuck up, Sean. You know what the fuck you're talking about.
This is the west side of Australia. So you can say running. You can just Google missing landmass off the west side of Australia. It says there's a phantom island off the coast of Australia that appears to be a ghost image inside Google Maps. But experts have said that this island used to be charted up until 1774 when it abruptly disappears.
Sean, I do have a guest pressure about a container, Sean G.
I should just stop talking to me until you stop running from that 1v1.
When do you want this 1v1, bitch?
Time, map makers thought Tasmania was a peninsula.
Yeah, so Leon, right? You still there? Liam Jam? The Dr. Liam Jam? Paging Dr. Liam Jam?
I think it's Lael.
Okay, Lael, sorry.
The island is on Google Maps, and it's also a little bit southeast of Madagascar.
Was it hidden from you?
2,600 miles. Well, I mean, it was hidden in the fact that I didn't know it was there until I...
Well, there you go. That's what I think, too. There's shit I don't know.
It's still there.
Yeah, but it was hidden from you, right?
Guess what? There's parts of Africa that I don't know, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but
so
I mean,
when
that type of stuff to be hidden from you.
2,600 miles off the coast of Australia, Lael?
So when do you want this 1v1? Sean G, little bitch. Sean, you there?
Yeah. I already got a 24/7 mod, and he's willing to do it. So stop running, and we can.
When, and who? When do you want it, and when do you want this smoke? You can't even fucking respond. Am I disconnected?
That's because I'm doing other things besides dealing with you. But anytime.
When you stop touching yourself, let me know. Okay. Fucking gamma.
You're really trying to get a rise out of him, aren't you, Brummy? You're just trying to upset your opponent.
Can't stand him. He's
it's really,
I nearly dislike him as much as Flat Destruction. He's nearly as bad as that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand this shit going on.
At least he knows who Alexander the Great is.
Who is that anyway? Can you tell me about it? Give me a history lesson. What's this guy doing? He's supposed to be more famous. He's supposed to be more famous. He's supposed to be more famous than Jesus, and I've never heard of him. So what did he do? What did this Alexander the Great do?
Just I'd say go read a book, bro.
He's just a warlord, just like Genghis Khan, just a Middle Eastern, Mediterranean version.
And what, like a Greek guy, like the Spartans? So great. Like the Spartan.
No, a little bit before that time frame.
Before the Spartans.
No, quite a bit after that time frame.
So it's before and after.
Yeah. So you get the Persian Empire, Darius. Then you get the Battle of Marathon. Then you get the Battle of Thermopylae. Then you get the Battle of begins with S. Can't remember. Then you get a generation go by. Then you get a guy called King Philip, who then unifies Greece from Macedonia. And then you get his son Alexander, who then goes and.
Do you believe everything you read in history?
No, but we got a good archaeological record for it.
A good archaeological. What's an archaeological record called?
Archaeological record. It means we.
Yeah. Well, what's that Kishkalep you just said? What is it?
The archaeological record. Go and type it into Google, mate.
I ain't interested in history, man. History's gone.
No. If you're not interested in history, then I'll do this.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, it'd be.
Anyways, back to Crit.
No, not back to Crit, please. I've gotten too much attention.
What
Can you give some other flat earther some attention for a while?
Literally,
I'm sick of all the attention.
Hey, Brummy.
It's hard work.
I want to listen for a while. Can I just listen?
Brummy, I know how important YouTube videos are for you. If I post a video on Alexander the Great, will you watch it? It's
absolutely.
All right, hang
on.
He said absolutely that he's not gonna watch it.
Bro, I love science. I love science. You guys got it twisted.
Okay.
Watch it and report back to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, watching it now.
I did have a bit of a question for Cret, actually.
Okay, it'll be quick.
Reasonably polite about it, so
I'm sorry. Say again.
I did have a bit of a question for you because my thought on going to space is that we aren't quite there yet technologically, but it would be cool if we were. But just for the sake of the argument, let's say to build us an elevator that will go there. And I don't know, put a sign on it that says, give us your retard you have and your religious extremists and all that, the usual stuff you put in these entrances.
Mm-hmm. What about
what we'll do is we'll give you an RV and I don't know, a space suit so you can go out for a smoke or something and let you on your merry way everywhere. And you think that's going to go down peacefully? There's going to be the infinity of space out there, You think that's going to go down peacefully?
What, the elevator to space will go down peacefully?
Let's not argue about how they get there.
Okay, I'm trying to follow, dude. Can you make it just really quick? Just really quick,
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say tomorrow we can put people in space with the equivalent of an RV in a spacesuit.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm following. I'm tracking now.
Yeah. And we just send whoever wants to go. You think that's gonna go down peacefully?
So yeah, what you're looking at is something. Are you familiar with the like Warhammer 40K?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're
equivalent of what's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't frighten you. That let's try to correct this ship before Warhammer 40K is actually real. If that was, if it's possible for humanity to go to space, would you consider Warhammer 40K to be a warning or an instruction book?
No, I'd say it's just a dystopian battle game written by two guys who used to live in London and now live in Nottingham.
Yeah. It's interesting though. They really hate aliens in that book, book or story or whatever.
No. But the whole point is Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson, who came up with the background for Warhammer when they started the Warhammer 40K. They realized that one of the things that's very, very common to humans is the in-group, out-group association. So what they wanted to do was have the in-group, those that belong to the Empire of Man, versus everything else out there in the universe. But even then, even with that point of view, they will still align with things like the Eldar to fight other races. And they've even aligned with the Orcs to fight other races and dangers, mainly the Tyranids. How deep do you want to go into this lore?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. And sometimes on 24/7, we break into full Warhammer 40K questions.
Yeah,
and talk about it. What I like most about it is the immaterium. That's probably my favorite topic of the Warhammer 40K. I don't.
That went so badly south that I have to correct you a little bit, because the real book for what's going to happen, at least early on, is going to be very much like the Wild West, and it's not going to be peaceful. I'm going to shoot you for your weed and your beer. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, kind of like Firefly, right?
I love Firefly. Great hero.
Is that what you're describing? What you think it would look like hillbillies in space, kind of, or not hillbillies? Hillbillies in space is the correct term, right?
I think you have the rich and the poor, don't you? You have the inner world and the outer world.
Yeah.
So Alexander was a war hero. Yeah, basically, somebody went out and swung a sword around and led an army, and people were scared of him because a bit like William Wallace. You know, everyone was scared of him because he had a massive reputation. Like most things, the word of mouth used to pass. That used to be the form of communication back in them days. So, you know, the further back you go, the more bullshit gets added onto people. I mean, you know, if you go far enough, apparently people are walking on water and turning things into
10 minutes, and he's an expert in fucking Alexander the Great. Oh, I'm impressed with you, Brum.
Just Chinese whispers and history and how it works. It's all a load of crap.
So impressed.
Brumi, let me give you a little rundown. Every general that has been born after Alexander the Great has him as their idol. Julius Caesar went down on his knees and started crying because he said he will never achieve what Alexander the Great achieved.
Do you know who Alexander the Great's hero was, Essie?
Excuse me?
Do you know who Alexander the Great's hero was?
No, actually, no. Well, one of his one of his teachers.
It was Achilles. So when he went to the ruins of Troy, it was supposed